Beast and His Beauty. Prologue. Life in the small town of Fathom went on as it had for many years. Lifestyles went on the same way as they had been for years and years, until the millennium came along. The new generation of town people lived out their days like the past generations, working for their family's bread and butter, really. The leisurely pastime they had was conversing with neighbors over the weather, the headlines on the news, and the latest gossip over the town's outcasts. They never really meant any harm, however. Sometimes their stories became so far-fetched and unbelievable that the only ones who would believe them was them themselves. The mundane kept them busy, but the unusuals kept them talking. One day, in the spring of 2003, a new family came to the small mountain town from the big city. Of course, the townspeople would jump at any opportunity to get to know them. Neighbors would come with gift baskets and pies just as an excuse to see what they looked like. They knocked on the front door and never once got an answer. The new neighbors never opened their doors to let their potential new friends in. The townspeople who lived nearest to the new neighbors of the community started to gossip. "It's just so rude not to introduce yourself. You'd think they have a little more decency than that." People would flounder the news of the discourteous new neighbors and started talking of foul play. They might have come here because they were wanted elsewhere, the townspeople would converse. "The father must be a lowlife or something, and his poor wife is too ashamed of him," another story went. This went on all through the summer, rumors and gossip and lies. Not until the fall, when out of the house emerged a 13-year-old son. It was his first day of school. Unknown that he was already persecuted in their minds, his teacher bombarded the boy with questions. "What's your name, boy?" "It's Camelin, ma'am." The boy's quiet little voice was barely audible. "Your parents couldn't think of a better name, eh?" "Thought of it behind bars, didn't they?" the teacher exclaimed, enjoying the boy's confusion. "Huh?" squeaked Camelin. The sixth-grade class had already burst into laughter. Camelin's cheeks turned red, his head fell. The teacher finally told him to take his seat. He sat in the farthest desk he could find from anyone. A boy came up to his chair and said, "Hey, criminal." "It's all right. We all know it. It's okay to tell me." "Why do you think I'm a criminal?" said Camelin. "Well, because you are, duh. That's what my mom always says about you and your family." "So tell me, what they get you for?" "I'm not a criminal," shouted Camelin. These were the first words pretty much everyone in the room heard from him. His eyes flared with anger. The shy little boy that was sitting there just 2 minutes ago was gone. He punched the boy right in the nose. The crack could be heard across the hall. Of course, no one bothered Camelin after that accident. They never talked to him, tried to get his side of the story. Camelin was left alone for many years to come. His incident stayed on his record and in the heads of every student and parent. The boy was dangerous, they concluded. Yes, he wasn't bothered until the spring of 2007. Chapter 1. "Students, please, please, settle down." The teacher, Mr. Potts, was trying to get the attention of his high school junior English class. "Silence, Todd. I'm trying to conduct a lesson. And if you would all just please be quiet." The noise faded gradually. The high schoolers really didn't give the guy much credit as a teacher, but when it came to him yelling, they knew he was serious. Faces turned to his, and the face of an unfamiliar girl. "Well, as I was trying to say, we have a new student today. This is Danilee what was it again, dear?" "Alden, sir," said the girl. Her rosy face gave Mr. Potts a small grin. She had short brown hair, a decent-sized figure, and her ordinary look gave her the visage of a sweet angel, the sweet girl next door. Yes, Danilee Alden. She is from Oregon, and she just moved here with her parents. I'm sure you'll make her feel welcome." The students were less than excited, but intrigued by a new face all the same. She eyed the room quickly and found a seat in the back, where no one but a dark-haired boy sat. She started to the back, but her arm was grabbed by a blonde in the front. "Hey, you want to sit next to me, Danilee? I can show you around if you'd like." "Oh, sure, yes, thank you." Danilee sat next to the blonde and continued on to hear the lesson. However, she couldn't help notice the dark-haired boy sitting in the back. She would have preferred to sit back there because the blonde girl was making small talk and gossiping about other people while Mr. Potts tried to read To Kill a Mockingbird. The boy in the back would have never bored me with this annoying gossip, thought Danielle. She noticed that he did not say a word to anyone, and no one said anything back. His bored look was more than she could bear. His tight black shirt revealed his perfect body tone. Every muscle looked like it had been worked on every day. She couldn't help but notice, but yes, he was attractive. His lazy stare gave him the rebel look. A 5 o'clock shadow made him manlier than any of the boys in this room. He seemed to have been through more, so she still wondered why no one paid attention to him, being as attractive as he was. She stopped thinking when the blonde girl, apparently called Leanne, said class was over. She walked out with her thoughts on the boy that had roused her attention. "Hey, Leanne, was it?" asked Stanley when half the day was over and they sat around the lunch table. Leanne was busy talking with one of the many girls, looking smug and downright sluttish. "Yes." "Well, I was just wondering, who is that boy in the dark outfit over in the corner?" Stanley had to work up the courage to ask her. Leanne looked like she had just choked on her sandwich. "What? What about him?" "Well, who is he?" "His name's Camelin." "Yeah, I know, weird name, huh? But who cares? He's nobody." "What do you mean by that?" Stanley was trying to squeeze as much information as she could on this guy. Again, Leanne looked absolutely taken aback. "Because he's a horrible, uncaring guy. He and his family moved here a few years ago, and they have never once been social or friendly. They keep to themselves as if they were better than us. It's always been said that Camelin has a criminal record. I mean, look at him. His whole appearance says, 'Look at me, I'm bad to the bone.'" "But don't some girls like the bad boys?" questioned Danielle. "Not guys like him. He's so not gorgeous in the least. His awful shaped face, his hairy chin, and his heavy posture, ugh. It's enough to make any girl repulsed by him." Danielle couldn't see how Leanne picked up this physical appearance of this guy. To Danielle, he was completely dreamy. "Camelin's such an ogre," continued Leanne, "in a way so beast-like, don't you think? Well, it's best to keep your distance from him. He could be diseased." She gave out a small chuckle. "Sure," Danielle replied. Her false smile was as false as her reply. Camelin looked tough, but she saw something more to him, something more deep. Camelin had looked down the entire time. His quick eye shot a glance at Danielle for a quick second. She felt the intensity of the look, and just as quickly lost it. Camelin looked away, back to his solitude.